Well, get ready to power up that nostalgia because today we're taking a deep dive into, well, arcades.
Specifically, their resurgence, because it turns out reports of their demise were, to put it mildly, exaggerated.
So what's the mission, you ask?
We're going to unpack not just why arcades are back, but how they're leveling up for a whole new era.
And trust me, it's way more than just a nostalgia trip.
Oh, absolutely. But first, we got to set the stage.
Back in the day, arcades were like the place to be.
The social network, before we even knew what that was.
Yeah, you'd spend all your quarters, battle for the high score, maybe even try to impress that special someone with your Galaga skills.
Right, but then home consoles, the internet, things shifted.
Suddenly, everyone was chilling in their basements, battling it out virtually. So how did arcades go from pixelated paradise to, well, practically extinct?
Multiple factors. Home consoles got more sophisticated, more affordable. The internet brought a whole new world of gaming right to your fingertips.
Yeah, and it wasn't just about convenience. Suddenly, you could connect with players worldwide. It was a whole different ballgame.
But what's interesting is that arcades are back, and they're not just relying on dusty old cabinets and nostalgia.
Okay, so how are they competing? What's the secret sauce?
Well, they're adapting big time. And one of the biggest changes, think craft beers, neon lights, and, oh yeah, vintage arcade games.
You talk about barcades? Because I got to say, they're popping up everywhere these days.
Exactly. Barcades are a huge part of this revival. They blend that classic arcade vibe with a more, shall we say, adult atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love a frosty brew and a rousing round of Pac-Man?
Right. And it's genius, really. It taps into the nostalgia of older generations while giving a newer crowd something different.
It's like the best of both worlds, right? You get that social, in-person experience that's honestly kind of lacking in the digital age.
Where adulthood meets childhood. This is a place to come let loose and discover your inner child. If you were a Pac-Man fan or you loved pinball back in the day, now is a good time to come enjoy it. We're a restaurant, bar, and arcade. The main goal here is an arcade.
Precisely. You know, you've got your competitive gaming leagues, but there's something about the energy of a real live arcade. The cheers, the groans, the trash talk, it's all part of the experience.
And I think that's what's resonating with people. It's a communal experience, something you just can't replicate online.
Absolutely. But as we all know, nostalgia alone can only take you so far.
Right. So what else is driving this arcade renaissance? Because barcades are great, but they're only part of the picture.
They are. Arcades are getting smart about integrating technology, but not just for the sake of it. They're leveraging it to address those very challenges that led to their initial decline.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give me the tech rundown.
Let's start with virtual reality. We're talking next level immersion here. Imagine strapping on a VR headset and being transported inside the game itself. Suddenly, you're not just controlling a character on a screen, you are the character. And then there's augmented reality, or AR. This blends the digital and physical worlds in ways that blow those old school pixelated screens out of the water.
So like the arcade itself becomes part of the game.
Exactly. Imagine digital elements overlaid onto the real world, creating interactive experiences that are unlike anything you've ever seen.
I'm starting to see why this is more than just a comeback. It's like a whole new evolution of arcades.
It is. And it extends to how people interact with these games. Remember feeding those cabinets quarters?
Oh yeah, I practically had a callus from carrying around so many.
Well, say goodbye to those days. Cashless systems are becoming the norm with easy-to-use play cards.
Makes sense. It's more convenient, more efficient, and probably helps them track spending and all that.
Right. It streamlines the experience, which is a good thing because arcades are realizing they need to offer more than just games to thrive.
Oh, totally. They're becoming like entertainment hubs.
Right, exactly. Think live music, trivia nights, esports tournaments, the works. It's about creating a destination, a place where people want to hang out, even if they're not hardcore gamers.
I think that's key too. It creates this sense of community, a shared experience that goes beyond just like staring at a screen.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the games themselves. Arcades are getting really strategic about what they offer. They're curating a mix of those beloved retro classics like Donkey Kong or Pac-Man.
You know, the ones that make you feel like a kid again.
Exactly. But they're also incorporating newer indie titles, games that you might not find at your typical chain restaurant with an arcade in the back.
It's a smart strategy.
Yeah.
It caters to a wider audience, brings in people of all ages and interests. But I keep thinking, you know, there has to be something deeper at play here. This resurgence, this evolution, it feels like it speaks to something bigger about us, about what we're missing.
I think you're right. We're constantly bombarded with digital stimulation, always connected, always scrolling. But in that constant connection, we've lost something.
Human connection.
Exactly. We crave that real, authentic, in-person interaction. And arcades, in a way, offer a refuge from the digital onslaught.
They're a reminder that sometimes the best way to connect is to unplug, step away from the screens, and just be present in the moment, surrounded by other people who are, well, present too.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, next time you see those flashing lights, hear that familiar symphony of blips and bleeps, don't just walk by.
Take a chance. Step inside. You might be surprised at what you find.
And who knows, you might even rediscover the simple joy of a well-placed quarter, or, well, a swipe of your play card.
It begs the question, doesn't it? Could this arcade renaissance signify a larger societal shift? Are we perhaps craving something more tangible, more authentic in our increasingly digital lives?